You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the March 7th meeting of the Michigan City Human Rights Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Start. So, the first thing we're going to do is have roll call.
Sure.
Oh,
All right. Sorry about that. It'll take me about a second. Albertine Allen. Sojourner Atwater. Dennis Carroll. Marty Corley. Greg Coulter.
Here.
Bunny Dimke.
here,
Diana Gore.
here.
Should be good. Mary Ellen Quinn. Here. Tyra Robinson Walker. Here. Jamie Lorenz. Here. Jessica O'Brien. Here. Excellent, thank you.
Keep it in. Hey, mama. Come on now. I know you got a meeting. You gotta get up. Give me some love.
It's obvious or now.
Did you really just try to shake my hand? No. How you doing? Sorry, y'all.
It's my baby.
He said that's my baby.
All right, you take care.
Always.
All right, we've had roll call and we've had me greeting a friend of mine. We have the minutes. Anna, you have those?
Mm-hmm.
All right, for last month.
Yep, everybody should have them in your packet.
Yep.
And I believe we have a form, we have 7. Yes, we're good, right?
Ask for any corrections or additions to the minutes? Do you want to ask for any corrections to the minutes?
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me, I'm new at this. But I have my buddy over here who's helping me. Have you any corrections as far as the minutes are concerned? For those of you who've had an opportunity to read them, if you've not, we'll give you a few minutes so you can kind of read over them. If there are any questions or corrections, please let us know. Is that all right? All right.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Bonnie?
She seconded. All those in favor? All those in favor? Diane?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Mhm. All right, so again, all those that are in favor, I'm sorry, I was listening to you say yes as far as reading the minutes. All those in favor, please.
Aye.
Any nays? All right.
Good.
Next, we'll go on to the financial report.
There have been no additions or subtractions, so the balance remains the same as last month, which was a balance of $2,047.09.
I'm sorry, Bonnie, can you please repeat that?
The balance is $2,047.09.
Thank you.
It's the same as last month.
All right. Next, the executive Any motion?
Motion
All
to
right, the motion, I didn't think I needed that for the. Motion for the financial report.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report as presented by Commissioner Boney.
I'll second.
All right. So we're fine with that.
And a vote now.
The vote, that's where we are. So we're voting for the financial report.
All
All
those
in
in favor?
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? You beat me on that one. Okay. All right, thank you. Next is the executive director's report.
Last meeting, I believe it was Mr. Coulter had asked about if we had any of the subcommittees. So I gave you guys a list, and if you're interested, just let us know. I know Sojourner had emailed me on what she was interested in. And so that's included in your packets. Let's see, what else do I have? The office is this month, or actually I should report for January as well. January, we had 28 contacts, and February, 38, and that consists of phone calls, people walking in. Several were sent to legal services, other agencies, maybe Housing Authority or Hammond, if they're not in our jurisdiction. That's just what I'm doing during the day. I guess I should explain it to you. But it's been busy, it's been interesting.
Good.
That would conclude my report.
Right.
Before, back to the committees, I guess if anybody would want to be on any of these committees, and we have several new members who are not on any committees, that they should either contact Diane. We got Sojo's email, the committees that she wanted to be on. So just indicate which committees you wish to be on, and we'll need to have chairs for the committees. So once we have the committees, we'll have a chair. The only committees that are set, and they're set by ordinance, is the executive committee, and that's composed of our officers who are voted on and 3 additional members. So that you can see those on the bottom left-hand side. Any commissioner is invited to attend any committee meeting that we have. That's always been my policy for the 30-plus years that I've been here. So just because you're not on a committee, don't feel that you're being left off or something. You can attend any committee you would like to attend, but you should be on at least one committee. And we kind of reorganized those. Nancy Moldenauer reorganized those right before she left. And so this is what we have now. And just take a look at them and then contact the office and let us know which committees you'd like to be on. Any questions? Yes, Bonnie?
Larry, I was not here last month, but would our new members need to know what goes on in these committees?
That's what I was gonna
I don't know why it
suggest.
would be appropriate to.
That maybe those of you that have been here longer could maybe tell them what the committees are about.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right time now.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to do it on camera, but we do have a breakdown of the, let's see if
That's what I was gonna say. I know we
Yeah, the
did that
breakdown.
breakdown. We all collaborated on the wording and language with that. If we
Yeah,
could send that out in the email. for
Yeah, here, I found it here now, the breakdown of what the executive committee does, what the development fundraising committee does, give back, special events, sponsorship subcommittees. The education committee does Black History, high school scholarships, and the rest are in community engagement. But yeah, so we can send out one of these to people if they don't already have, one.
Sure.
So that'll give you some ideas, at least what the subheadings are, and then they're mostly self-explanatory. Anything
Alright.
else? Any other questions?
Any questions? All in favor?
What are we voting on?
Yeah, I don't know what we're voting on either. What are we voting on? We voted on the finance.
Yes, we did.
Minutes.
So we're now
Now we're on
on.
the executive director's report, and we don't need a vote on that, but we need to have, whether there are any questions.
Committee report?
Committee report's next.
Yes. All right, executive committee? No one, nothing? All right.
Okay.
The development fundraising committee? No? All right, sponsorship committee?
Could we
These are some of-
go back to special events?
Yes.
All right, special events?
Right over me.
Well, don't feel bad,
I'm
because
kidding, you're right.
I skipped over myself too, so it triggered me either, so.
Anyway, not a report, but just a heads up to everybody, especially the new commissioners, welcome. The Humanitarian of the Year is our biggest fundraiser. Obviously, because of the pandemic, we haven't had it in the last, almost 3 years? But we really would like to bring it back. I've done some research on it, just, preliminary. Let's see what the community says. The last time we did have Humanitarian of the Year, we only got one nomination, which is very upsetting, really, but, times change and this and that and the other thing. But we're hoping, and this is one thing to the new commissioners, that your help is needed on this fundraiser. No one will be overworked, I promise, okay? Except Diane, you might be, no, just kidding. But just like I say, heads up, we all need to come together as a commission. You're gonna be asked to sell some tickets, okay? If you can't sell them, you gotta buy them, or, So I just want you to know that from what a lot of the commissioners have said, we wanna do something, it's important. Like I said, the scale, I'm not sure, we might have to tone it down a little bit because of cost constraints, but I just wanted you to know that your help will be greatly appreciated and welcomed.
Mary Ellen, would you maybe explain for the new members what you usually do? Unless you did it, maybe you weren't here last night. What's usually done?
As far as,
Why they're expensive?
well, the expense, food alone is gone.
I mean, what is the event that you were thinking of doing?
Oh, well, instead of, we would do it on a grand scale in the evenings, we would have a dinner at the senior center, and I used to have Ed Kiss, who's no longer with us, hand carving prime rib. It was a beautiful affair. And then we went to a lunch because of people said we don't want to come out in the evening. So, and that was very nice. We had caterers come in, we did it over at Liberty Trail, and it was very nice. But when you're talking $50 for a ticket, which is hard, we have to make money on this, but we have to pay for the food. So you can see where we might have to scale down to something like wine and cheese here in the chambers. It would be very nice, and the people would get their scholarships, which is one of the most important thing, and we would be honoring the Humanitarian of the Year. But at this day and age, and because of all these changes, there's going to have to be some changes made. So I'm just warning people, maybe not, but I don't see any other way around it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's our main fundraiser for the year. If we want to give out scholarships and other things, usually the city does not pay for that. We have to do it ourselves through donations and fundraisers. So we have various fundraisers, but this historically the dinner or the luncheon was always the main fundraiser.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we're gonna take a vote on that?
No.
No? All right, let's go. Education committee. I'm sorry, sponsorship committee, did we say that? Did we get that one? All right, education committee? All right, we had the Black History Month Subcommittee and the High School Scholarship Subcommittee, and I think that's Marty, and he's not here right now. So we'll move on to the Community Engagement Committee. Anyone?
Well,
Brandon, did you?
Bonnie?
Okay.
yeah, for disability awareness, with Diane's help, I have a proclamation from the mayor, which I would read just a section. March is National Disability Awareness Month. So the mayor hereby proclaims the month of March as Disability Awareness Month in the city of Michigan City and calls upon citizens of Michigan City to observe the month with appropriate programs and activities. Furthermore, I encourage the citizens of Michigan City to seek counsel and input from any person or groups with knowledge and expertise in matters concerning disabilities. And then we have an actual proclamation
That's
here.
very nice. Do you want to pass that around?
Sure. And, that's what we need is
Beautiful.
It is very
something.
nice.
I took on disability awareness, but I need to learn. So if there are people out there in the community who have a need, they should somehow convey that to the committee. And I also wanted to mention that Judy Human,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Judy Human recently died. She is what they call the mother of disability awareness. This was on national news, but you may have missed it. That's why I wanted to mention it. She was at the age of 5 or 6. I think she had polio, and her mother took her to school to enroll her, and she was denied permission to attend school because this was in the 50s. At that time, they said her wheelchair would be a fire hazard. So she took it on, as she got older, she took it on herself to promote the cause, and she is one of the main promoters of the ADA, the Americans for Disabilities Act. So I just wanted to notice her passing. She had heart problems that were associated with having had polio, and she died at the age of 75. But I just wanted to mention her name, Judy Human, Heumann. And then also, along disability awareness lines, I spoke with Shannon Eason, who's the Assistant Superintendent of the Parks Department. And on March 15th at the Park Board meeting, she's going to talk about the plans they have in the works. They've gotten, I think, federal grant or state grants or whatever, to Water Tower Park, and there's one other, I believe, that are going to have special equipment for people with disabilities. So if you're interested, tune into the Park Board meeting. And then I asked her too, if the commission is interested, she might appear for a brief 4 or 5 minute talk about what's going on with the parks. Will be out of town in April, but possibly in May. And I also asked her for a suggestion for something that the Human Rights Commission could do that wouldn't be covered by this grant that perhaps would be needed, and I would attempt to solicit funds for that. Last year we gave some equipment to the special ed department of the school system, so I thought this year I would kind of ask the Parks Department if there was something, signage or something that isn't a large amount of money that would be possible for us to fundraise, and that money would be dedicated for that purpose. And that's it for Disability Awareness Month.
Yeah, that's very, very informative. It's nice to hear that at least some things have changed for the better. As far as you had a wheelchair, you couldn't even attend school. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's come a long way, but I'm sure there's a lot more that needs to be done.
Yeah. Do you know where she lived, or did she live in this area here in
No.
the West? Or?
No, I did watch the news about it and I read about it, but I forget where I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay. One other comment, and just to make sure again, and again mostly for the newer members, we have an ordinance that covers what we can spend our money on. And remember the last time, what you were talking about, the last time we purchased some equipment. So it has to fit within one of these areas. It has to be materials or supplies, education of the public, promotional educational training, community events, education of the human rights staff and commissioners, and number 4, educational scholarships. So it has to be able to fit into one of those areas. You can't just be because another department or somebody else needs some equipment, but it has to in some way be educational as far as what our goals and our activities are. So you recall, Bunny, what we went through the last
Right.
time. And I think we ended up putting a sign on the
Yes.
piece of equipment.
And the publicity was always with the Human Rights Commission was mentioned, and Jessica
Yeah.
actually took the picture.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we're aware that, that has to be done every, because we're not just, we're unable to just do whatever we wish any longer.
Well,
And
maybe-
that's by ordinance.
Can I don't know if this is the appropriate time in the meeting, can I ask you now then? One of the things I wondered about, and Shannon is going to talk to her, just to see if there's some need, because equipment is so expensive, for one thing. But I asked her if the park department has wheelchairs that are usable on the beach, and she said, I said, do people know about them? And she said, yes, they're used, they're borrowed, that you can sign up for them. They're borrowed quite often, so knowledge must be out there. But I wondered if this would be appropriate, if perhaps, she said, you don't want the park people to hand out brochures because that stuff just gets thrown and it litters the park. But we were wondering if possibly a sign at the entry, where you pay to get into the park, saying that, wheelchair, I don't know what the correct term is,
Available.
are available for use. Is that something that,
I would have to look at it and have to talk to you about it
All
to
right.
see whether or
Okay,
not,
we'll see
I
then.
thought there was some way we could make it fit, but it would have to be some kind of promotional.
I mean, to
Or
me, it's almost
educational
like
thing.
education, to
I think
educate
that
the
makes
public
sense.
that these
Yeah.
chairs are
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
you
So
know.
it's possible, I need to take a look at it. The only thing I would say on that is, I haven't been down to our beach here in a while. The state park just put in, like last year or maybe the year before, the actual ramps going down to the water, almost to the water's edge, and they put in like 3 of them or so. Very, very nice, but you can have a wheelchair, but you're still gonna have a hard time going through that sand. I don't care how big the wheels are on that wheelchair, it's gonna be tough pushing it on the sand, but, and the state park just did this, like I said, very recently, so that might be something for them to look into too, because it'll take you down to almost the water. They can't go into the water because the water would destroy it, but, and they kept it clear, they kept it clear of sand and,
Boat loading ramp on a smaller scale. I'll
but this was actually on the beach, so actually from the state park, from the big pavilion there leading down 3 different separate areas, a nice wide ramp, and at the end, it came into like a T, so if you want to, you could sit there, and I've seen people sitting there on their wheelchairs, and it's much easier. You can sit in the parking lot, but you're not really having access to being right next to the lake, and I always thought that was a nice thing for the state park to find.
Well, when I talk to Shannon, I'll mention that and we'll see.
Yeah, but again, and as far as us contributing to anything like that, it's gonna have to fit into one of these 4. Maybe the sign, like you said, at the entrance, maybe that, sponsored by Michigan City Human Rights, maybe that would be able to fit into it. I don't see, when you say equipment, it just gets me worried that, hammers or nails or stuff like, or lifeguard stands, it'd be tough to figure that into this ordinance, but, some kind of educational sign saying that wheelchairs are available, to me, that sounds like a good idea.
There's a walkway by the senior
Yes,
center.
Yes, there is, it's blue,
Yeah,
and it goes out.
it doesn't go all the way to the
Where
water.
is it?
But
Off the
beach
senior
access by the
citizen-
senior
Off the
center.
senior?
Parking lot. Mm-hmm.
Does it go down to the water?
Not all the way,
Not all the way.
maybe about 20 feet from the water.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so they've done it. And, here, lately when the lake's been so high, you can actually get pretty darn close to the water if you're just on the walkway there, but now it's gone down, so it's actually, a little ways away. Good idea, Buddy, thank you.
All right?
Yep.
We don't have to vote on that?
Nope.
Nope, okay, so we're gonna go to the next, the LGBTQA subcommittee.
Yeah, so that's me.
Gregory?
I also get to talk about the park department, so, Shannon Easton's the best, and we love her. So there was concern that the park board might not approve the Pride event this year, which is kind of silly because the park board also approved like the 420-ish party that Lord Burnham puts on in the same space. They ended up approving it unanimously after some members of the LGBTQ community, and then Brian Dabney also spoke really eloquently about the need for these events, and just that the park department isn't there to choose what goes on exactly. But the woman's concern is that it wouldn't be age appropriate for people under 18, but everybody spoke really well about how the drag queens that put on the show do a really, really good job not even swearing. They do a really good job. They keep it appropriate. So I'm really excited to see that the park board passed that unanimously and approved of the Pride event this year, which is consistent with the last 3 or 4 years that they've put on that event. And then in less uplifting news, PFLAG is hosting a letter writing event tonight at 6 p.m. At the Presbyterian Church. The letters are for state senators and other representatives, state representatives, about some of the bills that are going through the State House right now, such as the one that forces teachers to out queer students, or the library bill that censors libraries, and other bills that are going through the State House.
can I ask a question if that's very appropriate? When is the Pride event? I know you told
June
us.
17th.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay, and also, is there still a contact for the local PFLAG?
I can get you in contact with them.
Okay, thank you, because I've had some inquiries about that. I
No.
appreciate it.
I'm not sure who's like president right now, but
Okay, thank you,
there's some names on that list, yeah.
okay. Thank you, I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
That's it from the
Alright.
LGBTQIA committee.
All right, the next one, and Marty's, Martin Luther King.
Nope, that's me. Martin Luther King Committee continues to be in transition as P&W has decided to go a different route in reference to this long-term history of our collaboration with them. So it continues to be in transition. So I have no update except transition.
All right. Right. Tenant Landlord Relationship Subcommittee.
Albertine.
Albertine, yeah. I don't think there's anything new there.
And then the social status of African American males.
Pastor Carroll, he's not here either.
All right, that's all of those. All right. Next, we will have old business.
I guess real quick, I'm part of the old business here because I was skipping over on the staff attorney report, and I just wanted to make sure, see Diana gets mad when I keep interrupting her, so she's like, I'm gonna skip,
Got yours.
I'm gonna skip his report, see how long.
I am so sorry.
So I have no reports, I just wanted it officially for the record, but that's it.
She's gonna have to type that down larger for me. All right, so I've been forgiven for that. New business. If you don't mind, I would like to thank our new members and have each of them, if you would stand and introduce yourself, we would appreciate it.
No swearing. TV face.
I've heard that.
5-4 now. Hi, I'm Jessica O'Brien, lifelong resident of Michigan City. I currently work with Michigan City area schools, but I'm in transition, so next week I will be an employee of the Salvation Army in Michigan City.
Yay.
So I'm just excited to be a part of helping my community.
Thank you. Happy to have you here,
All
Jessica.
right,
I'm sorry?
Welcome,
Thank you.
congratulations.
I'm Jamie Lorenz. Grew up in Michigan City. I moved away for a couple years, but my family and I moved back about 3 years ago. I am an attorney, but I practice out of Lake County, Indiana. Technically, I work out of my home, so.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Come on, Mercedes.
I don't know if I should.
Yes, she gets voted on tonight.
I'm Mercedes McMullen. I've been here for most of my life. A few years ago, I transitioned and took my grandmother in and my 4-year-old niece, who has speech impediments and everything, but I'm known with a lot of friends. I work at Aldi's, and we are Norris Trash Angels. We go around Myers to pick up the trash because one of our good friends, Nora's, passed away, so we do it in her honor every year.
Oh, wow. Well,
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Welcome in advance.
So do I. We would like to thank the three of you for
Yes.
coming in and being a part of our committee, and prayerfully, everything will have some programs that you can get involved in.
Are we full up now on our commissioners? We have all 12, so fantastic.
Famous last words.
That's good. We've lost a couple members, so we've had a lot of new people
Yes.
come on board. It's kind of important because the ordinance says we have to have 7 for a quorum. So it's harder to do when you only have 10 members. I gotta, crack a whip and they
Right.
show up.
He
But
does.
now we've got 12. So welcome everybody, and soon to be new members. If you have any questions, just give Diana or give myself a call. I'll try to answer them. You should have received the packet? Did they get the ordinances? The ordinances are all online if you wanted to look. Our bylaws, I'm not 100% sure if our bylaws are
I
online, but
have copies of them in the
but
office.
you'll get the bylaws, and, we're not asking you to, the ordinance is rather lengthy and detailed and difficult. We're not asking you to memorize it or even to understand it, but you should take a look at it and just, read it so that you're a little bit familiar about what we do. The bylaws are what we as a committee passed, and so they're a lot shorter, just mostly procedural matters. But the ordinance is passed by the city council, and it's rather old. It goes back to the 90s. We've amended it a couple times, but it goes back to the 90s, and it basically talks about our main functions and trying to stop any discrimination that goes on in Michigan City. So take a look at that. Maybe we'll do some training or something down the line where we can try to get into that again. Maybe at a retreat, Mary Ellen, I don't know.
I'm happy, I did read in the notes, since I was absent last month, I'm happy to have everyone over to my home for a retreat. And I think it's very helpful to the new commissioners, and it's just a good, including Bunny, and it's just a good time that we can be together and get to know one another better, a little bit better, so, yeah, anytime.
Great. So welcome, everyone. I think you'll find it enjoyable.
All right.
We don't.
Any public comments?
Commissioner
Question real
comment.
quick.
Are you public or commissioner?
I'm a commissioner.
Okay, commissioner comment.
Yeah. That's
No public comments. All right.
We get a commissioner.
Just a question, yeah. So if there had been an issue where like the park board was split on the Pride event or something, would that be something that we could bring up here and then make us think about it here? Or is that not the type of discrimination that we would be talking about? That's a hard example to say.
It would be difficult it would not be the typical thing that would fall under the ordinance. You could certainly bring it up here as you brought it up.
Yeah.
It goes out to the community. Whether it would actually fall within the ordinance,
Okay, so
I'm gonna have a hard time. First of all, we need someone to make a complaint. So a citizen would have to make a complaint that they have been discriminated in some way that falls within the ordinance. And most of them are housing or employment. But it's not all. So I'm not 100% saying that, no, that wouldn't be possible. But what happens is a citizen makes a complaint, and then we investigate the complaint, It eventually, once the investigation is done, it goes to a probable cause committee, which is made up of usually 3 members of the commissions. And the commission tries to determine whether there's probable cause, just like in a court of law, if you got arrested by the police, then you go in front of a judge and it'd be a probable cause hearing to determine whether or not there's probable cause to try to go forward. And then if probable cause is found, and we're unable to reach some kind of a settlement or conciliation with conciliation with the parties, then it would go to a public hearing. Those are extremely rare. We haven't had one in many, many years, but when we do have one, they're very, very difficult. And the last one that we had ended up in the Indiana Supreme Court, and we were successful all the way down the line. So it's a difficult process, but I'm just giving you a thumbnail here, not to take up your time on camera, and that we can discuss that more if we have a retreat. We can do stuff like that. But Greg, it would be tough to see that fitting into the ordinance. I'd have to go back and take a look at the ordinance, depending on what the complaint was that came in. A complaint against another governmental entity is also difficult for obvious reasons too. So, okay. Hopefully that kind of answers your question.
It does, yeah. That was just a knee-jerk reaction I had when I was hearing that this was an issue. Or
So you can certainly bring it up. Free to bring it up.
Can I make a
Any other
commissioner
comments, questions?
if that's okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to recognize the Port County Drug-Free Partnerships Board. We, along with Mickey Webb, Joan Van Shaw, Alan Goresley, we have secured the grant to be able to train the Port County's first crisis intervention team. This will be the team that is trained to go on site when there's a mental health crisis. And when we get there, we assess to assure that they get the safe treatment they need instead of being incarcerated. So we have just trained our first team of police officers, and so we're about to train our second team. Very excited about that. And so we're moving forward and coming out of the darkness, as I feel. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I hope that really helps.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's
really
years are coming.
Thanks for reporting.
Tyra, are we kind of behind or ahead of other communities?
Behind, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely behind. But, I think I mentioned last week in reference to police social workers inside the actual police departments. We've been doing that for years in Lake County and in Illinois. We place social worker interns for years in Lake County and Illinois. But Michigan City has adopted that plan, has secured a grant with, a 5-year grant to hire a social worker. So they're actually looking for a police social worker that's going to be on site for those who are having issues in the community that need some actual support.
And the police department's on board with it?
Oh yeah, it's passed, and they are actually interviewing social workers.
Wonderful.
All right. Anyone else? All right. So that's adjournment. We've had public comments.
That's it.
So are we at the point of being adjourned?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Thank you.
I got one to adjourn, or all of us? I saw your hand go up.
We all leaving, Madam President. We all leaving.
All right.
Thank you.
So-
It should be, obviously.